times do you think it has been prayed over the centuries of man's existence? Hey, God, I'm in trouble. I need you. Where are you? And what time are you going to show up? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 1 of the Torah portion Trumah. Let's go to the book of Shemot or Exodus chapter number 1 and begin reading with verse number 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel that they take up a Trumah, a contribution, an offering for me. From everyone whose heart moves him, you shall take up my Trumah. This is the Trumah, the contribution which you shall take up from them, gold and silver and bronze, and blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and fine leather and acacia wood, oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, showing stones and stones to be set in the shoulder garment and in the breastplate. The key verse is verse number 8. They shall make me a set-apart place, and I shall dwell in their midst. Up until this point, Yah has been around. He's shown himself. He has revealed himself. He has demonstrated the power of his mighty right arm in behalf of the deliverance of Israel. He shows up just at the right time at the Red Sea, parts the waters, leads Israel across on dry ground, causes Pharaoh and his army to blindly follow suit, only to have their chariot wheels fall off, and they go for a bath in the Red Sea that they do not recover from. Israel is jumping, dancing, prophesying, and having camp meeting on the other side. It doesn't last but for so long. A few days later, they're complaining about their water provisions and about their food and their diets. Where is Yah? It even comes to a place in chapter 17 where they cry out, Is Yahweh in our midst or not? Where are you? It would seem that Yah does show up. We've all perhaps had a prayer that was answered. We jumped and danced and celebrated, and we're very, very thankful that the Father moved in our behalf. But let's be honest. There's been a lot of prayers that we prayed, and they didn't seem to get answered. Did those prayers just fall on deaf ears? Did the Master of the universe, was he busy at that moment and didn't have time for us? Was it a case of he had the I don't cares about him? Was there sin in our lives? Exactly why is it that some prayers get answered and others don't? Those are questions that man's minds are plagued with for centuries, perhaps thousands of years. Then Yah shows up in this chapter. And he says, I don't want to be away from you. I want to live in the middle of you. I want to dwell with you. Now, at the time that he is saying this, Moshe is with him alone up on top of the mountain. Israel does not have knowledge of these words yet. And between the time that Yah speaks these words and they hear these words, they're going to build a calf idol, and it would seem that Yah's entire demeanor is changed and his plans are changed. And ultimately, not to get too far ahead in this, but ultimately forgiveness is offered and the people are restored and this construction project actually takes place. But for the moment, Yah is expressing his great desire to his servant Moshe that he have a house, a dwelling place for his name in the middle of his people. This is not only a desire expressed for the then and there at that time, but for the here and the now. Yah is still wanting to build his house in the midst of the earth, in the middle of his people. This is not to say that we're about to take on a great building project at the house of David. We're looking for a building, and y'all pray that the Father help us find one. Find the one. Let me put it better that way. But the purpose is to understand that Yeshua said, this is how you're to pray. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. He taught us to pray that the kingdom of heaven would come and be resident, physically manifested here on the earth. Now, Kepha in Acts chapter 3 and verse 19 talks about the restoration of all things. Our rabbinical sages in Israel and those that are decreeing what they see for the last days, they're saying that we are in the time of the final redemption. And they're looking for the appearance of the one that they believe is the promised one. We would call him the Messiah. They're looking for Mashiach to come and to bring peace to the earth, to elevate Israel back to the place of its prominence. We're talking about the same things. Perhaps we're seeing them a little bit in different ways. Maybe we're looking at the same thing from two different vantage points, but we're looking for the same thing. The reality is this: Yah still wants to dwell in the midst of us. Yah does not want to be far away from us. When Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul, was speaking to those at Mars Hill, at the Areopagus, he said, let me tell you about this one to whom you have an altar here, to the unknown God. That one I know. And he described as we would touch and reach and feel for him. Where are you? You got to be around here somewhere. Although he said he is not far from any one of us. Yah does not want to be distant. When you're praying and it seems like your prayers are not getting answered, it may not at all be because he's turned his face from us or he stepped away from us. It could be that as a parent trains a young child to walk, you hold their hands and you let them walk towards you, walk towards you, walk towards you. You let one hand go. They struggle for their balance and recover, and they walk towards you, walk toward. At some point, you turn loose. Your hands are close by, but you're not touching them. And they look at you with this wide-eyed amazement. And when they realize I'm standing here all by myself, they stare at the hands, and then they do what we've been wanting them to do. They take that first step all by themselves, reaching out for the hands all the while, knowing you're my security, you're my stability, but I need to learn to do this. That's what he's saying to us today. Sometimes the moments that we feel like that he is away from us, he's not away. He's teaching us, take the step. At the Reed Sea, he says, Moshe, stop praying to me. Take the staff that's in your hand and hold it out over the water so I can do my work. Sometimes he's saying, you don't need me to hold you right now. You need to learn to walk toward me. I'm building my house. I'm looking for you to take a step. If your heart moves you, if you're incited and motivated and stirred in your innermost being to partner with me and cause this to become a reality, then look around and see what you have that you're willing to give. Let go of the treasures that you thought were only for you and start yielding those things to me. Whatever you turn loose and give to me is what I can use to build my dwelling place in the very midst of you so that I'll never be far from you. Let him speak to us today. More on this tomorrow. Until then, shalom.